Hello guys, we're back with another video. This is actually our third video of this, I'm gonna call it series that we are making right now. And well, in the last video we talked about a couple of things. We actually made a small brief introduction about HTML tags, and how important and how powerful they are in formatting our text on the page. In this video, we're going to continue talking about them, but we're going to talk about what I call HTML main skeleton. Now, there's a lot of names to it. We're going to see how, why I call it main skeleton. And, other people might call it different names, but, that is just the name I gave it. So, yeah, so let's actually go back to our web, to the browser and take a look at the text that we have, the stuff that we have on the page. So we have Hello World 2, Hello World 3, and today is a nice day because doing this nice thing that I really like, whatever, which is a paragraph, and we have these three headings. Now, even though we are starting to use HTML tags to sort of format our content on the page, we are still not doing it the right way. And what I mean by that is basically that, there's actually a couple of things that we need to do before we start using these tags. Now, even though we are using HTML tags to format our text, it isn't enough, to start saying that, okay, I'm actually using HTML tags, so I'm starting to use HTML to build websites. There is a couple of things, certain prerequisites that are necessary, and they are indispensable when it comes to building creating your website using HTML. Once again, they are very, very important. You cannot build a website without these. Okay, so what is this HTML main skeleton that I'm talking about? We're gonna take a look at that in a bit. Now, I'm actually gonna get rid of this. We are not gonna need it for now. Just say copy X. I'm actually Control X just to cut the whole thing. And if you're using Sublime Text as your text editor, then this is going to be super easy. Now, if you're using other text editors like VS Code, which is actually an amazing text editor, which is something that I also recommend, but it's not something that I truly recommend for beginners, because it's actually it's an overkill for if you're just starting out to build websites and create websites with HTML. I think it's an overkill because it's very powerful, but it's also very abstract. Like, you don't get to type a lot of things, and that is sometimes, that can be a pain in the ass later on, because you still need to remember these things, even though you're not consciously, like, actively typing them, but you still need to remember at least the basics and how to do things. And I think Sublime Text, and not only because it's a very light text editor, but it's also very precise. I mean, everything just, very well connected. The highlighting functionality also works perfectly well, and I truly recommend for people who are just starting out. Now, if you're more advanced, that's okay, but I think you wouldn't be watching this if you're advanced unless you're looking for something else. Okay, so let's actually take a look at this HTML main skeleton that I'm talking about. So once again, if you're using Sublime Text as your text editor, this should be very easy. So just type here HTML and then click Tab key on your keyboard, and there you should have it. Oh my God. Yeah, I know this is a lot. For someone who's just started out, this might seem like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. This is super scary. Don't freak out. Okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna walk you through all of these things, because it's actually not that you're not gonna be typing all of these. Of course you're gonna be typing it, but you're not gonna be like consciously actively typing these things. Like, you're just gonna remember these things just by heart. They're not even that they are crucial to developing a website, but you're gonna see what I'm talking about in a bit. Okay, so let's start analyzing and breaking it down, just to make sure that you guys really get a hint of what this main skeleton is all about. So the first thing that we have here is this. Now, we talked about the less than sign and greater than sign. These are basically, the signs that we use to open and close a tag. Now, certain tags, and I'm going to talk about this, in the next videos. Certain tags, they are self-closing tags, which mean they don't necessarily need a second. Like, let's take a look at this title here. So we have this title. Let's actually make this. Yeah. So we can put content here. I'm going to explain what this title is all about later. I'm just wanted to give you guys an example. Look at this tag. So we have an opening tag and we have a closing tag, right? Now here in the middle we can put whatever we want. Of course, it has to be a title, as the name suggests. But as you can see, this is a tag. This is a type of tag that we have to open it and also close it. Now, in order to close a tag, of course, you have to use these / sign. Okay, so I was talking about what I was talking about is that they're actually self-closing tag, and what I mean by that is, for example, look at this meta tag here. So we have meta, which is basically the name of the tag, but as you can see, it's not closing. We don't have another meta here just to close the tag, and that is because this is the type of tag that we call self-closing tags. You don't have to close it when you open it. I mean, basically it closes itself. Okay, so that's basically the main explanation, like in layman's terms, the main explanation of self-closing tags. Of course, we're gonna discuss about that with more details in other videos, in other upcoming videos. Now we have this Doctype here, and I actually have a script here that I kind of prepared for this. Let's go back. We have this Doctype. Basically, it's a less than sign and then an exclamation point, and then we have Doctype HTML. What this does is basically telling the browser, hey, this is a website, this is a web page, but the version of HTML that we're using is version 5. Okay, so that's all that's saying. This whole thing here is basically telling the browser that the version of HTML that we are using to write our code, whatever code that we're going to put in here, is version 5. That's all that's saying. Okay, if you get that, then we're good. The next tag that we have is this HTML, and this is not a self-closing tag. Okay, I just talked about self-closing tag. So we have this tag here. As you can see, it opens and it closes here. Okay, so if I click here, as you can see, Sublime Text actually highlights it for me. So we have here, as you can see, it's underlined here. There's this underlined ... here at the bottom, and there's also this ... here at the bottom. So just to show, okay, this tag starts here and ends here. Okay, so that's basically, because Sublime Text is very good and trying to facilitate our life and our work and whatever it is you're doing with these things. Okay, so we have this HTML tag. Okay, this is basically where you put everything inside inside you. This is basically where everything goes. Okay, whatever it is that you're going to type, it has to be inside this tag. Okay, so it starts here and it ends here. Okay, then we have another tag, the head tag. Now this is actually pretty confusing for people who are just starting out to use HTML. They don't really understand because sometimes you have to put stuff in here. Actually, let me just put it back the way it was. This is actually pretty confusing. People who are just starting out to use HTML, they can find this very confusing sometimes, and it's pretty normal. I actually struggled with it, like myself, when I was first starting to create websites and web pages using HTML. So we have head here and we have head here. Once again, this is not a self-closing tag. So we have head here, it starts here and ends here. Okay, so starts here, ends here. Now, whatever it is that you basically, whatever it is that you put in here, the user itself is not going to be concerned about it. And not only concerned about it, the user is not going to be able to see it directly. So there is no direct way to demonstrate whatever it is that you put here is only for the browser. It's information that you give the browser, certain instruction that you're going to give the browser so that the browser can better display your page. Okay, so that's basically what this head tag here is doing. Now, the only I would say the only how do you say it? The only exception, ooh, the only exception is the title, because the user is actually going to be able to see the title. Now, let's say HTML, just here on the, I mean, of course we're going to talk about it. Let's just type here HTML for beginners, something like that. Okay, now let's save this and let's go back to our page. And as you can see here, right here, it says HTML, I mean index.html. Okay, so that is the title of our page, and here is where that title is going to be. Now, if we refresh this page, now look at the title, HTML for beginners. Okay, now this is the only exception. This is the only information. I mean, there might be others, but for now, this is the only thing that I know. The only information that the browser that you put inside the head tag. Let me actually go back. This is the only information that you're going to put inside the head tag, and the user is going to be able to see. The rest of this information here is not for the user, but for the browser itself. I mean, you tell the browser that, hey, here's a couple of information that I want you. It's basically a couple of instructions that you're going to use to show whatever it is I'm going to put inside my page. Now, I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to close this real quick. This meta tag, we're going to talk about this in another video. This meta name tag, whatever it is, we're going to talk about this in the next video. We have the body tag, which is basically where everything is going to, everything you're going to write, basically going to write here. Everything that you want to show the user, you're going to write right here inside this body tag. So what we're going to do, let's actually put something back here. Let's just say something like actually, let's paste the information that we had, that we started with. Let's tab this, tab. Okay, now we're good. So we have this. Basically, this is what we were working with before. Now let's go back to our page. Now our page is empty because we didn't have any information. Once again, that was just the skeleton. That was not something. Those tags, the browser doesn't show the tags, okay, unless you put some information. Once again, the information that you want to show the user has to be within the body tag, okay, within the body, inside this body tag. If it's not there, the user is not going to be able to see it, okay. So if we save this, go back to the browser. Now we have content inside this body tag, okay. Now we have content in it. We should be able to see that content popping up. Now nothing changed, okay, nothing changed, but now we have the so-called HTML main skeleton. Now we've used it. Now the browser is going to be able to take a look at it and say, okay, now here's a title, here's whatever. So I'm going to treat the title and whatever. So now the browser is more information, sort of parse through the page, the content that we have, and sort of pick up certain information to display, in a search engine like Google or whatever engine that you're using, mostly Google, whatever. So this is basically the information that I wanted to give you guys today. Kind of a simple explanation. Of course, we're running out of time, so I have to stop the video here. But we're going to continue talking about this in another video, just to show you guys exactly how all this whole thing works together. Okay, so the mechanisms of HTML, and basically how that is going to work out in the end. After basically going through all of this, you guys going to be able to understand and have a pretty solid understanding of HTML and stuff like that. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Keep coding. Bye.